Hi there, my name is Gilbert Gwaze, and I would like to welcome you to Success Elementary. Success Elementary is an organized set of lessons giving you information that you're going to need to improve your life. How? In terms of money, in terms of relationship, in terms of your health, and just your general happiness. So this program that you're about to go into has got the potential of changing your life. My life changed because of the information. That's why I decided that I should package it somewhere, somehow, and deliver it to you. And so this is my gift to you. So you are in for an exciting journey, and you're going to be enjoying all the lessons that we're going to be sharing there. So enjoy. Welcome to the first of those video series. I'm not going to apologize for anything, but you are here for a reason. And just like you walk into any other person's house, this is my house. We are going to have to set a couple of rules. Yeah, you need a couple of rules, you youngsters, because if I don't set a couple of rules, you're going to be telling me, hey, Giza did this, Giza did that. No, I don't want that. So there's just one rule which we are going to go by. I'll explain the first rule like this. You need to assume that you're an empty cup. That's the first rule. First rule, assume you are an empty cup. I'll draw the picture of a cup around here. Why you need to assume like you are an empty cup? If you assume that you're a cup either half full or full already, there is nothing that I'm going to say. Say for example, you're already full. With all the junk that I was telling you about that you have accumulated, which you have accumulated through your school system. You think biology is going to save you in your life. You think geography is going to save you in your life. You think what your mother or your father told you is going to save you in your life. So if it's going to save you in your life, why are you stuck? That was the major question which brought you right here, right now. So we need to get that out of the way. Whatever you were told, all that junk is not going to save you. That's the very first thing that has gotten you stuck in the first place. So we need to assume that we're an empty cup. Right? Like this. So empty. I always try to go through my own personal life, assuming that if I haven't figured out how to walk on top of water, bare feet, then I still got a lot to learn about life. Never. You won't find me in any crowd trying to assume as the person who knows it all. That is a very bad way of approaching life. That is the very same reason why I feel for starters, you are stuck. Because you think you know too much. You think because you've got all that biology, all that geography, all that maths, all that science. To top on that, you've got your mother, you've got your brother, you've got your sisters advising you, you've got your pastors telling you what to do about your life. You feel that because you've got all this junk, then this junk is going to save you. The first rule in Success Elementary is for you to assume that you are like this. Assume that you don't know shit. Don't be complacent. Don't be complacent about anything. If you had known so much of the stuff that you know today, then why are you stuck? You're trying to figure your way out. You're trying to figure where is the next step. What are you going to be doing next? But you can't seem to be finding any. So here we are. Let's get this straight into our heads. The moment you try to come around here and to assume as if you know anything, you're going to lose a lot. Because imagine a cup full, anything that is going to come as additional information, guess where it is going to go? It is going to be lost. It will all spill out. So at the end of the day, you won't be successful. In as much as you want success, but it's all this junk, all this bullshit that is causing you not to be successful in the first place. So rule number one, assume that you're a cup empty. You're an empty cup. And this information will sink in. All the information that I'm going to give you from here on is going to sink in and take root. It's the information that is going to help you. So that's the first deal. Now that we've gotten the first deal out of the way, now I've got your attention, right? You now need to know, where do we start from? Just like with anything else in life, just like with anything else that you're going to have to start with, is to answer this question for me. Let me clear out the board for a moment. Let's answer this question. What do you want? Not what your mother wants, not what your pastor wants, not what your husband wants, not what your wife wants, not what your children want, not what your friends want. I'm talking about you. The key question is this one. You. But for starters, before we get to what you want, let's answer this question. Who are you? At the center of every problem that you are having right now, at the center of all the confusion, of all the lack of progress, is people do not know who they are. Therefore, if you do not know who you are, how then do you know what you want? How do you know what you want if you don't know who you are in the first place? Theologians, scientists have tried to explain this part. You've got people going to church every Sunday. They attend every event at the church. They try everything. But the one question that they can't answer honestly is who they are. Who are you? Is the question that I'm asking today, right here, in this first lesson of Success Elementary. Who are you? Once we are clear on who we are. I once didn't know who I was. Up until I now know and very confident know who I am, I've started making progress in life. So I feel that's the first step, getting you to understand who you are. Let's move on it. Say, for example, you've got an ocean, right? Everyone knows an ocean. An ocean contains water, fish, all the algae, rubbish, you name it. Oil spills, everything in it. But let's focus on water being the major component of an ocean or of a sea, right? If I take a cup of water, that empty cup that I was telling you about, if I go and visit the ocean one of these days, and I take water from that, the same water which was in the ocean or which was in the sea is now in a cup. I'll ask you this question. Is there a difference in the properties that are found in the water which was in the ocean and the water that is now in the cup? Is there any difference? If your answer is yes, my brother, you are lost. The same water that we took from the ocean is now in the cup. How different is it in terms of properties? In terms of its characteristics? Even if you look under a microscope, you're going to find the same biological components that are in this water in the ocean are the same biological components that are in the water in the cup. The only difference there is quantity, right? So yes, in terms of quantity, there is a difference. But in terms of quality or characteristics, that water which was in the ocean, which is now in the cup, there is no difference. So let me go biblical for a moment. This is science. Maybe some other people are not, science oriented, but you have all gone through the school system which taught you the very same science that I'm trying to communicate with you here. Don't be dumb. Let's communicate. Let's go biblical for a moment. Here is God. And here is you. If you were made in the same image, understand this. When we gave the analogy of the ocean, water in the ocean and water in the cup, you said there was no difference. Now here is God, because this is physical and this is spiritual. Now here is God, who has made you in his image. How then do you get confused or get not to understand that part? This is the quickest way of understanding who you are. This is not blasphemy, but I will explain why it is not blasphemy. Because if you get yourself out of this hurdle, which you are standing in between, in trying to deflect yourself, no, there's a separation between me and God. I am supposed to access God. God is something, a different entity than myself. That's where the whole confusion about why people are not doing what they're supposed to be doing, because they're expecting someone else or a certain angel to be coming from wherever to come and tell them, hey, Jacob, start doing this. Hey, Tawanda, you need to move in that direction. Unfortunately, things do not operate like that. Once I got to understand this, I got to understand everything and became more eager to understand how this whole world then functions after grasping this concept that I want to share with you right now. Stay with me. If God has made you in his image, this is the image of God, right? And this is the image of yourself. Therefore, I'll ask again, who are you? I know your mind is going to tell you, no, you can't be saying, you can't tell me that I'm God. You can't. That's the very same reason, or the first reason why you are stuck and you can't do shit, because you think you can't do what God does. God created you in his image. You've got to get a grip of that understanding, what that means. What that simply means is the same characteristics of God are right here. It's a copy-paste situation. You are God. In what way are you God? In the way that you can create. The same way that God has created everything else that you see today, including yourself, is the same way that you can take, you've got the same power, you've got the same characteristics to go out there and create anything. I will repeat, to create anything from here on. You can create anything from here on. That's the very first thing that you need to understand. That there is no a certain group of people which is special, Some say women can't do shit. That's a lie. Because the very gender that you want to separate people by, the very skin color that you want to separate people by, is all physical. We have moved past the physical. We are now into the spiritual, which means you are a spiritual being, bottom line. You are a spiritual being. In what way are you a spiritual being? In the fact that you can create anything that you put your mind to. But let's look deeper into this now. I'll rub off what's on the board. I hope you're taking notes. Let's move on. We said we've got God and we've got you right here. These two people, or these two things. God is spirit. So are you a spirit. God is created, we all agree. So, can you create anything? This is the part which I want everyone who's tuned in right now to understand. Your mind is going to tell you otherwise. It's going to come up with bullshit that your pastor has told you which you didn't understand at all. Your teacher tried to explain to you which you didn't understand at all. The very same things that you are using to deflect this type of information. You are assuming you are a cup full. You are a fool. Empty that cup and receive this information for the first time. You can create anything that you want to create. You are a God. Go anywhere else you want to go. Ask anyone that you want to ask. Go to your pastor today, go to your bishop, go to your leader. They're all going to tell you that you've got the power to create anything in your life. Therefore, this is where we want to start from. To make you understand who you are. You are a spiritual being. Right? You've got an intellect. And you live in a physical body. 3 planes of understanding. But for starters, you are a spiritual being. The same characteristics of God, of creating, of being a spirit, of being here present ever since the beginning of time, up until today, of being able to create anything. You've got an intellect. Now, this is information that you didn't know. This is the information which your school system didn't teach you. That you have the capabilities, the abilities, the faculties to create anything that you want. You are told, no, some people have, some people don't. Some people have got a poor memory, some people have got a good memory. Yet, memory is just a mental faculty which anyone can work on to better and therefore enhance their lives. So for starters, we need you to understand that you are a spiritual being, you've got an intellect, and you live in a physical body. That's who you are. For starters, you are a spiritual being, you are an intellect, and you live in a physical body. But a lot of people got it twisted. They think they're a physical body. They've got an intellect. And spirit will deal with itself right there. That's not for me to be worried about. My friend, wake up. You are living your life downside up instead of upside down. When I say downside up, you say this is the correct way of living life. I say no, you've been fooled. Your life is supposed to be lived upside down. This, no. This, yes. You're a spiritual being for starters, you've got an intellect and you live in a physical body. What I'm trying to give you here is the process. Understand this. This is the process in which everything that you see today, you can call it a pen, you can call it a board, You can call it shoes, clothes, you name it, including yourself, your very existence. This is how you were created. You were once a spirit which was converted into something physical. From formless, you then became form. You then became physical. Now the danger is this, which your teacher didn't know, which your pastor sometimes might have not really driven home, is that he didn't tell you that you are not a physical body. So a lot of people, when they're asked who they are, they say they are their names. They say they are their occupations. They say they are their sex. They say they are their surnames. How many people identify with their surnames? A lot. In fact, everyone who's got a name has got a surname. Every form that comes requiring you to fill in information requires this. All these things, if you look at them, which you identify with, they refer to themselves according to their jobs. They call themselves accountants. They call themselves doctors. They call themselves nurses. They call themselves teachers. All these things are purely physical things. That's where the danger is. You are living your life downside up. Therefore, you will never amount to anything other than these physical titles that you have been taught. The names, the surnames, the jobs, the sex. Did you know that gender is a taught matter? I was taught I'm a boy. If I had grown into an environment where I was taught I'm a girl, I would be acting like a girl today. But other people don't seem to get it when it comes to sex. When they see someone who identifies themselves as a woman, yet he's a man, they don't get that part. They don't relate because they've never been educated on the subject. When they see a woman identifying herself as a man, they don't get it. The simple fact is this: gender is a taught matter. Look at the young kids. Young as they are, they're not even aware which sex they are. You have to teach them. No, you're a boy because you've got these organs. No, you're a girl, you should put on these clothes. No, you're a girl because you need to behave like this. You have to be constantly teaching them and feeding them information about their identity. So who's really giving these kids their identity? Is their parents, is their environment in which they grow up in. So then would you blame someone who has grown into an environment where they're a girl and they've been taught to behave and act as a boy? You judge a lot. Get an understanding of what's really going on. I know some people who take this as a choice, and at a later stage in life they decide to become somebody else, which they've got every right to be, because they've understood that they are not their physical bodies. They are purely spiritual beings. This they can control. But the majority of you, why you are stuck where you are right now, today, is you didn't know that you are a spiritual being. You are identifying yourself as a physical being. That's the reason why it has become so difficult for you to go past physical entitlements, physical appearances, because you have so identified yourself with your circumstances, with your environment. No, I will never leave ghetto. Ghetto. So this is where we belong. My guy, you need to wake up. Waking up is realizing and understanding the fact that you are spirit first. Spirit does not have any quantity. You can't put it in a box. Spirit does not have any boundaries. Spirit can manifest anything into physical form. That's the reason why I'm telling you that as God has created everything that you see today, be it plants, be it animals, be it human beings, be it the planets, everything can also be created. You've got the same capacity. You've got the same characteristics and abilities as God. But how then do you create something from nothing? Should be your next question. How do you do that? That's the greatest question or the greatest challenge that people face today. Fine, they might believe they've got the capacity, they've got the same abilities as God to create anything. The next question that dodges their mind, because they are so logical, they are physical, they want to see things line up. They will ask, how do you do that? So this is the how. I am your how of how you are going to do that. This is no secret. It is written everywhere you are going to go. It is written, you have been told these things countless times over and over and over again. It's just that you've been sleeping too much. You haven't been awake to realize, oh my God, this is the very thing that they were trying to tell us all this time. I am your how, and I'm going to show you how you transform nothing into something. How you transform spirit into being. Because you've got the power to do that. You've got the same capacity to do that. And so, let's get straight into it. I hope you had a phenomenal time watching me deliver this information, and I enjoyed it too as I was delivering it. And you are a spiritual being. You've got an intellect, and you having a human experience, you're living in this body. And the moment you get a grasp of that concept about who you truly are, which I now understand you do have now, and congratulations for that, for following through the whole 26 minutes. You're going to need a telescope. From here on, probably give yourself 6 months on repeating this lesson over and over, getting a deeper understanding of what it really is. Let's meet on the next lesson, where we're going to be discussing of something phenomenal. Cheers.